Bad Batch is better than Star Wars Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels. There, I said it. Okay, maybe not better than Star Wars Clone Wars, but I think after going through the Bad Batch series recently, I believe it's better than Rebels. Today, I want to talk about and officially give my full review on the Bad Batch series. I originally watched it when it first came out. I was watching it one episode a week, and it was a fantastic show. Last year aired the last season, and I have watched it before, but as I'm taking my trip through Star Wars again this year, I went through and I watched the full series of Bad Batch again, and it is such a fantastic show. So I want to officially on YouTube do my full review and thoughts and rank on the Bad Batch series. Now, to repeat what I just said at the beginning of this video, I don't think it's better than Clone Wars, even though sometimes it does come a little close. But after watching it now, I do think it is better than Star Wars Rebels. But that is liable to change, I'm sure, because I have not watched Rebels yet this year. And when I do watch Rebels, maybe that will change. But as of right now, in this moment, I do like Bad Batch better than Rebels. By a thick hair, but I do. As we all know, Bad Batch takes place literally at the beginning of the show during Order 66, and the Bad Batch realize that this empire that has taken over the clone army is not something they want to be a part of. So they take Omega and they run away. Crosshair stays with the Empire, tries to trap and capture his fellow brothers in the Clone Force 99 and Omega multiple times. His development is something I really want to touch on in this video. And there's lots of adventures. There's lots of stories, side stories, and there's a lot happening post Order 66 and the beginning of the reign of the Empire. And I think that's a main reason why I really enjoy this story, because I like what's going on directly after Order 66. Even though it is one of the darkest, if not the darkest moments of Star Wars, something about it is just so intriguing and interesting, and it just lures you in because you want to see how are people surviving after this great hit to the galaxy by the Emperor. And they were able to do that by the form of Clone Force 99 and seeing where the journeys are taking them, what things they are doing to survive during the reign of the Empire in literally the first days and years of the Empire, and how are they surviving, and how are other people surviving, and how are other clones surviving while they are also within the Empire and leaving and being attacked and being tortured and being captured by the Empire. First, I want to hit hard, and I just want to talk about the characters of Bad Batch. We follow through Clone Force 99, Hunter, Wrecker, Tech, Echo, and Crosshair. Then they gain a squad member in Omega, and she is, I gotta say, a little annoying in the beginning, and she gets better towards the second season. And that third season, she hits hard in a great way. And of course, the person who voices all of these clones is D. Bradley Baker, the one, the only. He is fantastic. And he is one of, if not my favorite voice actor that exists, because he is able to do a different voice of the same voice, if that makes sense. But yes, he's able to do the same exact character because, of course, all of the clones are exactly the same in their appearance and in their voice, except little differences. So of course, the Bad Batch is very different in the way they sound and very different in the way they act and their personalities, like all clones. But they are much different because they are the defective clones, Clone Force 99. So he does that with the Bad Batch, but then he also gives more personality to all the other clones, makes some of the clones a little more giddy, a little more rough, maybe a little Western. It's so varying, all the different types of the same voice that he does. He's perfect at it. So yes, all of these characters in the Bad Batch are fantastic. Even the ones that are actually pretty annoying, which Sid, she really bothers me sometimes, but I think that that's her character on purpose, and if that's so, they do it perfectly. But my favorite, I have to say, is probably Crosshair. The reason why Crosshair is my favorite in this show is because of the character development and the journey he has gone on. From when we see him first in Season 7 of Star Wars Clone Wars until the very end of Bad Batch Season 3. There's a lot of conflict in him. He wants to be the good soldier that follows orders and follow the Empire and do what he's supposed to do and just be a soldier. And he thinks what he's doing is right and good. And he thinks that the Bad Batch, and Hunter especially, is failing and they're doing something wrong. As he grows and he gets through the first season, he realizes and he kind of can get the feeling that the Empire really doesn't care about him. Then the second season, that's when it really takes course, and he's on a mission with Cody, and he can kind of see a little bit, even though he went through and followed the orders, he can see that the Empire is not doing things that they should be. Then it really hits hard for him that the Empire does not care about him or any of the clones when him and Havoc are on a mission trying to gain all of these provisions from these pirates, and then Havoc ends up dying in his arms. And then Crosshair ends up defecting, and he ends up defying the Empire and killing that officer. That is a very emotional scene, and that is the turning point for Crosshair's character, because he realized that the Empire is not loyal to him or any of the other clones, and that's something that he holds above all else, is loyalty. So he gets captured, he gets experimented on, and then Omega in season 3 helps him escape. And then you can see that he's growing his attachment. He's very hesitant to get attached to Omega, but she's tugging on his heartstrings, and he's getting a little soft, and he's gaining affection for her, and he wants to protect her, and he wants to look after her, and they escape and then succeed, and then he joins back with the Bad Batch, and he realizes this is what loyalty is. This is what a family is. This is what a squad is. These are my brothers. She's my sister. This is what I was missing, and it just took a long time to get here. And then throughout the third season, there's a little banter between him and Omega, and they have all of these funny little conversations. And my favorite is when he's talking to her and he's saying, "Stick behind me, stay close." And she says, "You're worse than Hunter." And he goes, "Oh no, I'm far worse." You're like, yes. He's protecting her. He's doing all he can to make sure she's safe, and I love that. The entire Bad Batch are like a mixture of a father and older brother to Omega, and I love that role for all of them, especially Hunter and especially Crosshair. Then at the end of the final episode of the series, Crosshair's development comes to a full circle, and I actually forgot about this when I went through this watch through, and he gets his hand cut off. I totally forgot about that, and that is just huge. That's his main hand. That's the hand that gives him his skill. But we see as him and Hunter go and save Omega one last time from Hemlock, he's able to do it with his left hand, and Crosshair and Hunter take out Hemlock and they save Omega. Hunter and Wrecker and Echo, they have good character development, but it's kind of just a little flat with little spikes of, ooh, that was really good. But another one that was really good was the sad Tech. Tech was very bland and very intelligent in the first season, but they made you get attached to him in the second season. They did the same thing to Crosshair, and that's why I was scared they were going to kill him off as well. But they didn't, thankfully. But Tech, they make you feel for him more. He has more of a connection. It's growing closer to Omega. And I got a little scared during that process. I was thinking, oh no, are they going to kill him off? But then for some reason, my mind switched, and I said, you know what? No, they're not going to do that. They wouldn't do that to Tech. Oh, but they did. That was sad. That hurt really bad. But it just goes to show that Bad Batch can really hit you in the feels. That's not to say that Rebels cannot hit you in the feels. The death of Kanan Jarrus really hits hard. But for some reason, the death of Tech really hit hard. Since when did we follow orders? I'm getting goosebumps as I speak. The final character I want to talk about is Omega. Like I said previously, she was very childish and immature, which was by design in the first season. And in the second season, she was growing. She's growing as a soldier in their squad and growing as a person and a good part of their family. And then in season 3, she's really coming together. She is doing all she can to escape. She saves Crosshair no matter what Crosshair says when he says, "If I have a chance to leave, I'll leave without you," even though he really didn't mean it. She will not leave Crosshair. That's her brother, that's her family, and then she is dedicated to go back and save the rest of the clones on Tantus. Her character development is at its peak at the end when she releases the Zillo Beast, which I just absolutely love. She becomes an older sister to these other kids who are being experimented on. She's being a leader, she's being a soldier, and then her and Echo end up saving the rest of the clones, which I absolutely love. The final specific thing that I want to touch on is the final episode, episode 15, the series finale of episode 3, and how good it is, and what a great wrap up to a show. It's not very often that shows these days are able to end well, wrap everything up in a nice little bow, and this show did it, I think, perfectly. And I think it's because this show decided to end it after 3 seasons and not draw it out really thin. A lot of shows will go on forever. For example, this is not a comparison of the type of show, but NCIS is a show that is reaching almost, I think, 30 seasons soon. And I find that to be absolutely ridiculous. Now, of course, that's a detective show, and you can recycle a lot of the same ideas, and Star Wars is definitely different in that aspect. 30 seasons for a show is outrageous. I definitely think that Bad Batch could have gotten away with making maybe a 4th, a 5th season at the very most, but I think they were smart in this case and ended it after 3 seasons, and that's why they were capable of wrapping things up, because there was something still left to wrap up and salvage for a great ending. The first thing that I actually liked was this evil Bad Batch squad. There were these elite soldiers that Hemlock kind of created off of these clones that erased their identity and basically just brainwashed them and made them these like super soldiers, kind of like the Winter Soldier from Marvel. But they resembled kind of like the evil inquisitorial squad version of the Bad Batch. They were very cool looking clones, and I think all of their specialities and the guy's energy swords were very cool. I really liked the last stand of the clones, and that Echo and Omega both went back to save the rest of the Bad Batch, but also they went to go back to save the rest of the clones. There was about maybe 20 clones there. Echo and Omega expressed to them they had to go and save the rest of the Bad Batch, and they all said, "We have one fight left in us," and they stayed there and helped Echo and Omega, and they pretty much got smacked around, but it was just so cool that they went and they did one last stand against Hemlock and kind of like justice for being experimented on, being tortured, captured, imprisoned. I really liked is that Echo and Dr. Emery Carr actually were going to Pantora to make sure that the clones are settled, and that's something that I want to go way deeper in. Echo is now on Pantora. He's helping these clones settle and get into a different life. And I like the idea that some of these clones are just retired now. They're relaxing. They're kind of like Rex and the other clones in Rebels. But maybe some of them are fighting with Rex and Echo, and they're doing other missions and finding other locations similar to Hemlock's, where they're going to save clones. I've repeated myself multiple times on this, but I think that would be a great spin-off show. But yes, I thought it was awesome that they destroyed the facility at Tantus. I love that Omega released the Zillo Beast to destroy and just demolish multiple areas and just break through the front door, leaving a big opening, inadvertently letting Hunter, Wrecker, and Crosshair in to save them or get captured. And I thought that was great as well. I love that Dr. Emery Carr switched sides. She realized she didn't want to hurt these children. She wanted to save them, protect them, and she ended up joining and calling out Echo in that clone trooper outfit with the fake hand and saying, "Let me help you. Let's save these clones and let's save these children." I love that Hunter was going to go after Hemlock and he was going to do it alone, and Crosshair said, "Don't even think about it. I'm coming with you. We're both saving Omega." And they both tag teamed, took out the ship, took out the clone commando, and then took out Hemlock. Absolutely loved that. When Omega came up to Crosshair and Hunter while they were knelt down, she saw that Crosshair was missing a hand, and it just hit her, and she had to go, and she just hugged him. Maybe I'm just, too mushy, but that just really hit. She hugged both of them, and then they walked out. And then that's pretty much it. Omega saved the children. They're safe. The Bad Batch is going to try to help them find their families. And now the Bad Batch is pretty much retired. And I like the idea of that. But I also like the idea of maybe there being more to their story. At the end of the episode, we see that Omega is trying to sneak away, but Hunter catches her, and she's trying to rejoin the rebellion. Now, I don't know if she's going to do it as a soldier or maybe a pilot. I like to think that maybe she was a pilot. And that could be another spin-off show. You could call it a Rogue Squadron type show, call it Rogue Squadron or whatever. She doesn't even have to be the main character. She could be like Ahsoka coming back and being a side character in Rebels. And there could be a more main cast in that show, but she could be a part of it and be a pilot. And then even Hunter at the end of that last episode said, "If you ever need us, call us." So there could be that spin-off show, and maybe the Bad Batch can come in and rescue and do a few missions. But also at the same time, I'm scared because I don't want them to come back and then them end up killing any of them off. I like the idea that they're retired. They're there for Omega whenever she needs them, if she does, and they're just relaxing, enjoying retirement, and just kind of helping that planet they're on survive while the Empire is still reigning. Once again, Crosshair losing his hand was huge. Okay, I digress. That just really hit hard for me. I don't know why. As seasons as a whole, I want to rank seasons 1, 2, and 3. Now, this might ruffle some feathers if it hasn't already when I said Bad Batch was better than Rebels, or at the beginning when I said it was better than Clone Wars, even though I took that back. But I think Bad Batch Season 1 is a 9. I think it is a 9 out of 10. It could be a 10. I think there are some things in there that kind of prevent it from being a 10. There are a couple slow spots, but they're slow spots that I don't mind. Comparing it to Rebels, there are a lot of silly episodes, kind of like Clone Wars, where it's just based around the droids and their adventures that I really don't care about. Or maybe episodes that just has to deal with Ezra being a silly boy. It doesn't really matter. I still love those episodes, but I tend to skip those episodes when I'm watching Rebels. When it comes to Bad Batch, season 1, 2, and 3, all the way through, I do not skip any of the episodes. And season 1, I definitely don't, and that's why I rank it at a 9. Season 2, I'm gonna put at maybe like a 7.5, maybe an 8 out of 10. It's not the best out of the 3. It's still really good, and I think the episodes on that one that are my favorite are the ones that have to do with Crosshair. His development and the seriousness and the maturity of those episodes are my favorite, and they're so good. But there are a couple of nonsense episodes, kind of like Rebels. I still watch them. They're enjoyable. They're more of just like a side quest mission in that season, but that's why it knocks it down to an 8, which still isn't bad. An 8 out of 10 is very good. Now, season 3 of Bad Batch, it's probably a 9.5. You know what? No, I'm giving it a 10. It is a 10 out of 10, which I do not give very often. But I think it's because the episodes that are my favorite, which is definitely the last few episodes and the episodes where she's escaping with Crosshair, they tie together to make that 10 for me. I don't throw around a 10 very lightly, and maybe I'm just like coming down off of the high. I literally just watched the end of season 3 today as I'm making this video. So maybe next week I could come back around and think I shouldn't have said 10 out of 10. But right now, in this very moment in time, season 3 is a 10 out of 10. We have season 1 at 9 out of 10. We have season 2 at 8 out of 10. And we have season 3 at a 10 out of 10. That is my March 2025 Bad Batch series rank. Things like this in my head tend to change from year to year. So next year, I could think that maybe they're all 5s. Or maybe next year, I could think they're all 10s. I don't know. Sometimes I'm wishy-washy. You know, I'm allowed to do that. But anyway, that is it for this video. I really just had to get my thoughts out and just blab a little more. I love talking. I love hearing myself talk, and I really need to get these thoughts out. I absolutely love this show. I love this more mature setting because I am an adult, and this less kid show for Star Wars animated shows. Tales of the Jedi, Tales of the Empire, and Bad Batch have done this, and Clone Wars Season 7, and I like this atmosphere for a Star Wars show. Now, recently I heard about George Lucas's potential 60-episode Underworld show, and that really did hit hard because that would have been a fantastic show, and that probably would have been his way into having his 3 other movies instead of the dumb sequels that we got. Hopefully, Dave Filoni is able to get a more permanent, higher position and is able to do good things within Star Wars now that Kathleen Kennedy is supposedly leaving Disney. I doubt she's leaving anytime soon. She's probably going to be in the background controlling some kind of stuff, but I definitely want more animated shows like Bad Batch, and I'm still sad. It still hurts that they're gone, but I like to think of other stories, and I'm probably going to theorize and make other videos based off what they're probably doing, what they've been doing after Bad Batch, and what Omega's doing. And I really just love these characters and this show. Thank you for watching this video. If you have thoughts or disagree, or you do agree, please let it down in the comments. I hope you guys stick around. Please like and subscribe to this channel. I thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.